Next we have Accutech bid for 2014-15.
Again, Chris had a conversation with Jack Dykel from Accutech. I guess he has better information on what the numbers represent or why the numbers are the way they are.
When they put together the bid, you can see that they did three options, a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year. And basically the prices or price increases decrease with the length of contract, if that makes sense to you. So basically a 2 year is less expensive than the 1 year single. In my conversation with him, exactly, yeah. In my conversation with Jack, who's the president of the company, I expressed concern just about the increase over last year as far as option one was concerned. And he shared two pieces of rationale for that increase. The first piece is that they made an error in what they quoted us for this current school year. And so they were making an adjustment to make up for that shortfall or that error. The second part, besides the error piece, is just that he feels the company is taking on a higher degree of liability when our equipment is aging. And so with the service contract and replacement pieces in that, it's more likely that they would be incurring higher costs. And so that was the rationale for the increases in pieces. I was able to talk him down with option one and option two a full percent. So instead of option one being a 5% increase, it would be a 4%, and option two would be a 3% instead of a 4%.
I think that Accutech, from what I've heard, is giving us good service. They've been here, done a good job.
They also do the high school?
Pardon me?
They also do the high school?
Yes, they do. High schools, Village Hall.
Yeah, the village manager.
Okay.
I would be in favor of a 1 year extension. And then I would look to bid it out because I think that things may change. And, year 2 and year 3 are jumping up in fairly significant numbers each year. So
When we put it out to bid before, Ken, have we had anybody else bid on it?
2 years ago, we had several people bid on it, but the bids were so different in what they were going to cover, how they were going to cover it, and that type of thing, that they really weren't comparing apples to apples.
Okay.
You know, that was the biggest problem we found with it. I mean, some places wouldn't do refrigeration, wouldn't do anything with domestic water, so there was just a lot of mismatching going on within the bids. The bids really didn't reflect a good comparison against one another, because they weren't, like I said, apples for apples.
How much are they in the buildings?
Pardon me?
How much are they in the buildings?
Steve is probably on site at least in every building once a week, sometimes more if there's something going on, but we generally see him almost every day in one of the buildings. Whether it's just to check in, see how things are going, or to come in and do a repair, or, you know, but we generally see him almost every day during the week.
a motion to 1 year extension of the contract.
Okay.
I'll second that. Thank you. Would it be possible to just get a copy of the work orders for you, just to hold on?
Sure.
You want a copy of your work? Of your work orders?
No.
I like just to see what's there. Next thing we have upcoming projects.
Oh.
What do you have?
Well, I've started with the principals. I've talked with the principals. They're going to formulate like a priority list of painting projects, what they'd like painted for this upcoming year. Looking at those, we'll make a determination if any of those projects can be, can be done over the Easter break. I know it's only a 5-day, but there are some potentially some smaller projects within those groups, so we can get those done. That right now is the only thing I've looked at as far as looking outward at things or knowing things, but just looking around and with this winter that we've
I was just
had,
gonna ask.
I mean, Chris had asked me about seal coating, and I said, well, right now I'm not too worried about seal coating, I'm more worried about blacktop repairing to see, you know, and we really won't know that until the frost is out of the ground. And I mean, we see problem areas already on some of the playgrounds.
Yeah, winter's been pretty rough on just about all the blacktop.
Oh, yeah, it's been horrible. We've got some issues going on out here on the sidewalk along between us and district office where the corners have all broken out and they're deteriorating really bad to where it's potential where someone could slide off on those areas. Another one that's developing is the sidewalk. If you go out in front of the building and continue east, where it curves around, the sidewalk is dropping off like this to where we can't even plow it decently anymore because the plow just doesn't follow that angle. It's just really raising it. The other two that are become real noticeable lately are both front entries at Trailside and at Woodfield, where I believe it's at Trailside, I've got a heave about 1.5 to 2 inches to where 2 sections of concrete have changed.
Oh, on the concrete itself, not the
Right,
blacktop.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of wait and see right now until the weather clears and the frost comes out of the ground to see what goes back, what doesn't go back, what breaks up. So that's gonna be probably take the biggest brunt of the hit. Is
You
repairing
drive a
asphalt.
big pickup truck on there, you just flatten it out.
Yeah. So that's about as far as I've gone with it, because like I said, I'm waiting to see what happens with that, because I'm thinking that's going to be quite an area of repair needed in different areas.
Parking lot's pretty decent for water runoff. I know
Yeah,
Trailside's a lot better than what it was.
Yeah,
It's still
oh, yeah.
holding up.
Yep, that's
I
holding up
haven't
well.
checked over at,
Yeah, Woodfield has been great. I mean, we get that scraped down. I mean, they melt off and the water runs away. We haven't had any issues there at all. A couple of issues that we've had with ponding is just the fact that there's so much ice buildup along the edges. The water has no place to go. You know, we've tried to bust open where we can. We've busted some areas along Main Street there to get the water back
I
out
didn't
to the
see that, yeah.
road. And, you know, we had to hand dig this canal or this channel out in front here to get the water out of the dip where you pull up into Fox River. So it's been a challenging winter. Fortunately, we've only had 2 roof leaks.
I would say the buildings have made it pretty decent with all the water or snow we've had.
One at Fox River, which we think was an ice dammed up roof drain that overflowed. And then there's one leakage along here, which now that the roof, I was up there today, it's finally all melted off to where I can get Carlson in. It's where the pitched roof comes down and drops onto the flat roof. But that's such a catch there for the snow when it blows, that the snow was almost 4 foot high through that whole area up there, which is this hallway out here that leads from the cafeteria down to the exit. But now that's all melted away and it's not leaking anymore, but at least now you can get in to check and see why. I have a funny feeling that icicles broke off the gym roof and punctured holes in the rubber membrane of the flat roof.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
When are they planning on replacing the roof now? You get any dates from them yet on that?
Not yet, no. I think with the way the weather's been, they did.
It's still frosting the ground.
Right, we did. I had an email from them, probably 3 weeks ago saying, well, you know, we're first on the list as soon as the weather breaks to where they can get at it. But the way it's been, they just don't want to start tearing something off and then end up with, you know, another cold snap or another.
And even bring any equipment in, because
Right.
it'll just sink right down to the axis
Right.
as soon as the frost comes on.
Shingles are in-house, just waiting to get picked up, and they're just waiting to get at it.
Do you have anything else for us? I think the trucks and everything are working good?
Yep, the truck has been great, and they've had their workout this year.
You had a problem with the plow?
Pardon me?
Did you have a problem with the plow? I thought I saw something that went over.
Oh, on the 04 GMC, yeah, one of them, there's 2 ears that come out that the plow hooks onto. One of those snapped off. We don't know if it almost looked like it had been cracked before and finally just gave way. But that was just one cross member that we picked up and bolted back in place. Nothing that with the plow itself. It's more the undercarriage. But other than that, everything's been fine.
Do you have anything else, Paul? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah, Darlene just brought to my attention too. Her and I have been talking with two different conversations on blacktopping areas over at Fox River. one kind of went into an area that we talked about last year, I think it was, or the year before, to where we extend the playground, the south,
last year,
the south edge of the playground. So we're gonna take a look at that again this spring and get a cost on that. But then to try and alleviate some of the traffic problems over there, Darlene had an idea, and we're gonna look at that, is along the east side of Fox River, there is no sidewalk at all. It's just the bus loop comes in and then curves around or goes back around the other, behind Fox River. We're looking at possibly putting in a sidewalk from the front sidewalk along that east side of the building up to the bus loop. Then that would give us continuous sidewalk from the front here at Evergreen, all the way around, all the way to the front of Fox River. There'd be paved sidewalk area for the kids to walk on. Then we also thought about potentially putting signage on the inside of the bus loop saying, no parking, stopping, or dropping, that would be for through traffic only. So anyone bringing a child would have to stay in that outermost lane, drop their children off, and then proceed into the through traffic lane to go out. I mean, I'm amazed that some child hasn't gotten hit yet, or some parent hasn't lost a door when they park on the inside of the loop, and now the kids are getting out into the traffic. I mean, if you're ever here at 7:10 in the morning, it's chaotic. So those are a couple of the ideas that Darlene and I have talked about to looking at this spring to doing something over there to try to eliminate some of that problem.
Do we have enough room for the buses there this year, Darlene, or was it pretty tight with all the snow?
We have enough room for the buses. They've moved up a little bit, and so that way they can
Yeah, I
get
can
in.
see when I go to work, they pull up some.
Yep, it just hangs right over the edge of the back right there. So that's not an issue or a problem, but the problem is the traffic, getting them I stand out there and I flash it
For
through.
a while there, I was coming through there, I know that very well.
Yeah, but, when you get yourself backed up at about 7:20, you got yourself backed up all the way out to where I stand and pass, and then you got parents and kids, they're walking as the parents are in the road. So, I don't know, I don't think it's gonna solve it, but at least by having a sidewalk, I can maybe get the kids that get out over here, walk that sidewalk and continue that right up to Fox River. I'll still have to cross the people, and I'll still probably have to cross people at the basketball hoop, because as the parents let them out over here, they go across the basketball hoop. I pretty much did try to juggle watching both these things like this with my head, but then you've got this added factor of the other ones down there. So Ken and I talked about maybe a sidewalk against that whole wall at Fox River, out more, not up tight against the school, but out.
The one problem I did notice though this winter, there's plenty of room for the buses, as far as back to back, but I did notice because of the way we have to plow snow and where we have to go with it, the last couple, 2-3 buses that are on the very end, those kids are, they're walking a very tight area because we can't plow the snow any further to the north because it's the building and the grass is there. That way going back to where we would add
That one line.
roll of asphalt on the south side there, at least we could plow it that much further to where the buses could move over somewhat and give the kids a safer place to walk in the winter.
Doesn't it change where you put the garbage?
We really don't have to, we don't gain anything from there. If we just run straight across the back,
What we were gaining before, remember we wanted to get it out of the line of the building. We had hit those
yeah, but
corners or
I think
something.
we sort of nixed that because of the cost that was involved, because there's no flat place over there to put it. It would entail building some kind of
Retaining walls.
a retaining wall or a retaining enclosure to put them in.
Yeah, well, how about adding to the south side, aren't you gonna have to dig into the hillside there?
No, because we're just only gonna go up as far as the swale.
Okay.
We're not gonna go into the swale at all. We'll go up to where it starts to rise and just put enough of a pitch in it for the drainage and accomplish everything that way.
Maybe we could talk to the chamber, because that would give them more parking for Balloon Fest. Could help with that project.
Well, I thought we were gonna talk about that.
About 17 cars. 17 vehicles we could park in.
I'd like to go into that subdivision, but it's private, so we can't. You ever sit at that stop sign trying to turn left at around 7 to 7:10 in the morning, you start saying wonderful words, and it's not. You can't get another driveway onto the highway, so. I I think they'll be discussing, or you, Chris, you already talked to them a little bit at the 80 project. So that'll be something down the road when 83 gets.
They need to move or move back one post here. Right now, we have 2 lanes, and now it's on the 1 lane, back up to 2 lanes, and already have to turn off. I'm gonna have that 1 lane all the way through. Now, adjourned.
Second?